So about 2 years ago, I was given the opportunity to put on an art show at the Little Theater. Being a recently graduated student full of excitement and energy, I jumped at the opportunity and said yes. And then being a recently graduated student full of excitement and energy, I spent the next 9 months scrolling through Facebook, editing photos for Instagram, and being thankful that Snapchat only lasts 9 seconds. So with 3 months to go and absolutely no progress having been made, I started to look at myself and see, was that worth it? Was I getting anything from the internet, or was I just scrolling endlessly through my life? And I came to this conclusion. The modern addiction is a modem addiction, so I drew this parallel. We all know somebody that's addicted to something. I grew up with a real fear of addiction. I watched it ruin lives of family members and of people that I knew. So I tried to stay away from it. But I noticed at this time that we're all addicted. We all have these devices in our hands and in our pockets at all times. So this modern addiction isn't a pack of cigarettes. It's our cell phones. The modern addiction is a modem addiction. So I put these pieces together and hung them at the Little Theater, and I realized that when people came, they would be itching to use their phones. They'd want to scroll through. So I decided to make the pieces interactive. So next to each piece, there would be a prescription paper, and on that paper would be a QR code. You could scan this code, and it would take you to a website. Now, I can't scan it in front of you, but I will just show you guys what happened. You pull it up and scan this code, and you see this. Rather than bringing you to Facebook, it brings you to a website that I created myself that's composed of stats regarding the usage of Facebook. So you see that 23% of users are checking Facebook at least 5 times a day, and 48% of people aged 18 to 34 are checking Facebook first thing when they wake up. So that means half of the demographic that I'm a part of is checking in on this virtual world before they even realize the real world that they woke up in. So I did this for every piece, whether it was Snapchat or WorldStar, Vine, or Twitter. And I created one for Instagram as well. So it's the same process. You scan this code, and it takes you to a website where you see that at the time of making this, there was over 20 billion photos shared on Instagram, and 35% of the users were checking it multiple times throughout the day. So I just want to be clear, this isn't an indictment on social networking and the internet. I think it's an awesome tool. In fact, it's pretty fucking cool. Ooh, they beat myself out. So the internet's awesome, right? But it's not everything. So around the time that I wrapped up this presentation at the Little Theater, I got in contact with Steve Carter. And Steve was already working on something along these same lines, but less so with addiction, and more so dealing with the fact that we spend a lot of time on the internet, let's make something of it. So Steve was working on Explore Rochester with the intent to take 2 things that often carry a negative connotation, social media and the city of Rochester, and combining them to make something positive. So Explore Rochester is a communal Instagram account that offers a new perspective of Rochester every week. We let somebody take over the account, and they share what they're seeing. We really want to connect people to people and connect people to place. It's not so much about creating the most beautiful photograph or getting the most likes, but it's about finding the beauty in the mundane and your everyday surroundings. So we give this account to somebody, and they take over the Instagram. But we're not focused so much on the photos, so why does Instagram matter? Well, by looking at what they're sharing and seeing where they're going, we're able to connect with them on a level that words can't describe. So we're able to see what they're seeing and experience it that way. We might not be able to spend a week in their shoes, but we can spend a week looking through their lens. So it becomes less of an account based on a singular person and more of an account revolving around shared experience. So it's been taken over by 31 people so far, and they all take it whatever direction they want. Some people elect to go out in nature and experience the beautiful parks around, whether it's Cobb's Hill or the Lower Falls. They might drive a little bit and check out parks in Sodus or go out to Letchworth. Others elect to stay right in the city that we're standing in right now and look at the beautiful juxtaposition between High Falls and the buildings around it, or the awesome murals that Wall Therapy has put up on the walls. They're coming from all walks of life, the people that are sharing and contributing. Some are teachers, some are students, some are photographers, some are artists. But most importantly, they're all people, and they all live here, and they all have the same ideology that this is who I am, this is where we live, and this is the way that I see it. But that's not enough. We want to make sure that this interaction transcends the app. With Instagram, it's easy to feel like you know somebody just because you've commented back and forth and you've gotten a snapshot into their life. But really what we notice what's happening is we're garnering new followers instead of making new friends. So we wanted to make sure that we took it offline and outside the confines of your keyboard. So we started as a hashtag, Explore Rochester. And you're able to click on that and see everywhere that people are going and tagging Explore Rochester. You can see who's going where, who they're going with, and maybe meet up with them. And we evolved into the account of Explore Rochester, which gives a new person the opportunity to share every week. But in order to get it offline, we decided to start Rocks to Meets. And a Rocks to Meet is a physical manifestation of the account where we all get together in one place and explore together, where we're talking back and forth instead of commenting. And it's been really successful. We've seen our first meeting with about 20 people evolve into our most recent meeting where 180 people came out, all in the same place, all with the same goal and the same desire to meet other people. It's a lot of people. So we'd start somewhere like a coffee shop and talk to each other and break that line between digital interaction and human interaction. We don't have time to think about what we're going to say, we just say it. We're not putting a filter over our reaction, we're just reacting. So we leave Pour or any other coffee shop and we walk around the city, seeing new things with new people for the first time, creating new memories. From there, we like to end at a communal place. And it's at this point where we see the phone starting to get put in our pockets, and all that we're seeing is people talking to each other and really finalizing those relationships that they've made over the last few hours. So what's happening is we're all living together in the moment mutually. And that's really cool. So what we want to do is make sure that social media doesn't take over our lives. We know it's an awesome technology, but we want to make sure that it doesn't become a substitute for life, but rather a way to enhance it. So if you're out on the internet, you throw your hand up, somebody's always there to give you a high five, whether it's through a retweet or a like or a comment or a share. In the real world, that's not always the case. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And that's okay, because that's where we were built on. That's where true humanism is born. The physical presence of each other is important. And the more time that we're spending strictly on social media, the less time we're spending with each other. When I recently gave a lecture on modern addiction, I opened it via Skype, and the audience was furious. I thought we were getting him to come give a lecture. Why is he just being projected on the wall? And I thought by give a lecture, he actually had to come and give a lecture. And I thought that was funny because they get to see me, they get to hear what I have to say, they get to see all of my work and interact with it. They get to ask me questions and I can respond. The only real difference is I'm not physically there, and that bothered them. And I agree, it should. Because like I said, this physical presence is super important, and that's what we're built on. So what I'm trying to say is, as technology continues to evolve and our phones become appendages, we need to learn to live with these new capabilities and capitalize off them. We need to ensure that real life continues to happen outside of our homes, outside of our comfort zones, and most importantly, outside of the confines of a retina display. Thank you.